Welcome to the Business Buyer Diaries. My name is Nathan Platter. I'm a full-time employee, and I bought a business. I did everything right, from finding the deal, handling all the due diligence on 63 opportunities, and ultimately bought a profitable gym. And boy was I in for a big surprise as a new owner. I chronicled everything in real time, including the biggest wins to the stressful nights at 2 a.m. I'm sharing my journey without sugarcoating anything, so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Here's today's episode. Good evening. Well, the 10-week party is over. It's 9 o'clock, and I'm zipping home. We went from 7 to 9. I got there at 6 to set up and make everything look pretty. It was a good event. Definitely not the ideal event. We kind of shared the room a little bit with other patrons, but it worked out well. It was a little bit sad. High energy, high engagement, really great audience, and it's weird in the back of your brain. You realize there's only so many more of these left. In your head, you're like, these are going to go on forever. These days are going to last always. And sometimes when you're feeling depressed and sad and down and defeated and things can't get better, these days will never end. When is this going to end? But then when it's a good day and you're having fun and you're meeting with people, you have the same thought of these days will never end. And us humans forget that things end. And that's in the moment, that's a novel concept. And it was just really surprising to realize all these relationships, all these friendships, all these happenings, they serve a purpose and a reason. I'm just feeling kind of sentimental about it. So I didn't realize it, but pulling up to the event, it's at think of an adult Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know what to call it. I'm not going to name drop it, but think of it there's arcades and food and pub, tavern vibes, and it's just a fun place for families to hang out. And I didn't realize this, but across the street was the same Jimmy John's I went to 15 years ago. I worked at a car dealership in in college. And I worked full-time. I went to school full-time, and it was a grueling couple of years. And I was saving up every dollar I could, making $10 an hour at a car dealership. And I just remember thinking, having broke poverty mindsets. And you're in college. I went to community college. I did whatever I could to scrape together $167 a month to pay my parents for the car that I bought from them. Saving up money for an engagement ring, trying to figure out how I'm going to propose to my wife and how we're going to get married and still be in college and afford, at the time, a $3,000 a month home budget. That was our home budget, for everything. And it was all the money. I could not make that much. I didn't have a way to make that much money. I didn't know how to do it. It just wasn't possible. I was making $10 an hour. $10 an hour for a year is $20,000 a year. It's not enough to afford a newlywed. And so I remember I couldn't skip meals because I was just skin and bones. And so I would go to a nearby Jimmy John's. I found out they had day-old bread for 50 cents a loaf. I found out when they opened, and I would go when they opened. And for my lunch break, I would order 2, maybe 3 day-old breads because I had to buy my own groceries. It was just rough. At least I remember having to do that. And if I can eat for $1 a day, I'm good. Because I can eat my parents' food at home. If I forgot to make a lunch, I can eat for free at home. But then just thinking how am I gonna get through this? I can't even spend $1, $1.50 without feeling guilty. And so tonight was across the street from that. And so I'm going to a part of town I never drive by. And then across the street, I'm all right, I just want to not pay respects, pay homage, but get closure for that. And Jimmy John's is gone. The location's gone. I walked up, the space is for lease. The place is completely gutted. You can't, all you see is some tiling in the background and a few wall spigots for where the water and the gas lines are. There's just nothing. It's just gone. And those days are gone. And I can't get them back. And that just really hit me. And so just a phase of if if the memory wasn't so clear, I would wonder if it actually happened. And that was a solid year of my life doing that for the car dealership. I had other jobs in college, but it was weird to get that closure and to see that it's gone and to feel at peace with that. It was too parallel to too many other things going on. And so had a good party, tipped our waitresses out the max tip on the 3 buttons that they could do. Had a chance to like mingle with the members just slightly. I'm learning I'm best either on an audience in front of people or one-on-one with people. And like in a semi group setting of like 30, 40, 50 people, I just don't know how to relate to that crowd the exact same way. I still have good stage presence. I know how to deliver. I know how to entertain. But like I'm either an audience person or like a one-on-one person. As of today, I want to sharpen that skill. But going home, voice is shot from shouting. And yeah, I'm just going to enjoy today. It's not a given that my wife is going to be alive for 50 years. It's not going to be a given that I'm going to be feeling financially pinched for 50 years. It's not a given that my kids are going to be 5 years old for 50 years. Like, it's not a given that both my parents are alive for 50 years. Like, it's not a given I can even like make this podcast for 50 years. Like people assume the present is forever, and it inherently is not. And so that's why like when people die in a car crash or they overdose on alcohol or like, I don't know what to say because it's going to be insensitive to someone who's lost someone, so I'm just going to stop. But like, people think the present is forever. And that's why people forget to be grateful about the present, because they think it's going to always be this way. And that's not true. The truth is the present is just the way it's supposed to be. People will come and go. People will be born. People will die. Things upgrade. They downgrade. They get rusty. The only thing that's constant is change. So when you're in the moment and you're with people and you're doing something you enjoy, you need to like be grateful for that snapshot, because it's a snapshot worth preserving and framing. And we got a great group photo of that. So I'm feeling extra sentimental because I'm seeing how the studio's not going to be around for another 3 months. And so today's extra special and sentimental. And heck, if Jimmy John's can close and leave, it's not everything is forever. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're going. Let's rock and roll. This has been another episode of the Business Buyer Diaries. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. I hope you're realizing that business ownership is no cakewalk. Check the podcast notes for a link to the DIY due diligence program, the complete list of show sponsors, and for media inquiries. Music written and composed by Wes Schrock. I'm your host, Nathan Platter. Join me again on the next one.